Come on, people. We got an intruder.
Oh, really? Can you see me there?
You're under...
Whoa, I've got a... Is that a yo-yo? Bro, my melee weapon is a yo-yo. Sit the fuck down.
Mate! What's Watch Dogs 2?
Hopefully better than the first.
I think it's gonna go.
I don't know why I pulled this one. You dodged it like a bullet.
That's why. Well, I put my foot down. It's like one of us has got to do Watch Dogs 2. It's like.
Okay, so I'm doing Watch Dogs 2. Now, it's not on PC yet, so we're going to be playing it on the PlayStation 4 Pro, mate. Which may or may not be beneficial. Some people are saying it's actually worse than the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Really?
Yeah, so after the disaster that the first was, and the rather cringy trailer that we saw for Watch Dogs 2, let's go do some hacking.
I hope you enjoy it, mate.
I think it's going to be alright.
Let's do it then.
Bye.
Watch Dogs 2, mate. Gotta say, a little bit nervous about testing this one, but how did you find it?
It was surprisingly not bad.
Really?
Surprisingly not bad, yeah. So the story in this one is nothing to do with the first. Right. You're going to play as Retro. Now, we've probably all seen the trailer and all cringed like all hell when we saw some of the things in that, including Deadmau5's son. But you're going to play as Retro, so no customization of the characters, which is not surprising.
Okay.
We're set in San Francisco. It's got the whole big map on there, and it's straight away going to introduce you to your hacker team, which is the guys that you saw in the trailer.
Right.
So I think a lot of the more younger audience are probably going to compare it to Mr. Robot, because they have a hacker team in there.
Okay.
But it's a direct rip from the Hackers movie. And that is a big theme of this one, is they are not taking themselves so fucking seriously this time.
That's such a good element to have.
Yeah, it really cheers it up, because nobody liked Aiden in the first one. Like, if you got over the glitches and the downgrades and all that, nobody fucking liked playing that guy.
Mate.
Yeah, he was like, so fucking stupid all the time. And people are like, this game is ridiculous. Like, what we're doing in this game is so stupid. Like, setting off the traffic lights and all that kind of stuff. So you get to meet these guys straight off the bat, and they, like I say, they're a direct rip from the Hackers movie. So you've got Lord Nikon there, you've got Acid Burn there, you've got the Freak there.
Oh, really?
They've all got different names, but they essentially embody those characters. So they're a kind of campy send-up of what hacker teams would be like.
Right, okay.
Yeah, okay. So you're going to get
modern day version of.
Yeah, you get a lot of memes. There's a lot of memes in there. There's a lot of memes.
Yeah.
Some of them, the story is going to be a big dividing factor. While they don't take themselves too seriously in the story, it is kind of goofy. At the same time, they don't want to push it too far, and they try and sometimes it like is being serious, and it seems like it's being serious to the point where you're like, oh, this is, and I have to use the word, it's cringy. It's really cringy to listen to. Yeah, because it's almost like what 9-year-olds would say about hacking. You know, it's like, I think this guy hangs out on IRC. All right, and then part of the way through the game, though, they start saying, no, we're in on the joke. We get it silly. It's supposed to be satire. It's supposed to be like, you know, like GTA mocks everything.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that with the story, but then it goes back to being serious again. So I don't think they really knew whether they were going to push which way or the other.
You don't think they hit a nice balance of both?
I don't think they picked a direction and stuck with it.
Right.
I think at some points they wanted to really make it goofy and silly, but then they pull it right back to trying to be serious, and therefore they don't really go too far in one direction.
So a bit too much flip-flopping.
A little bit too much flip-flopping there. So there was key points to the story, really, that the big bads are there. So everything you'd expect from basically from Grand Theft Auto, etc. So Google's in there, but they're called Noodle, and people are always saying we're noodling things. Scientology is an obvious on the chopping block.
That's risky, man.
Yeah, music industry's on there, and all this kind of stuff that you'd expect to be sent up in a kind of lampooned way.
Yeah.
They're all in there like you'd expect from a GTA-style game, while similarly they kind of bring it back and almost mocking nerds in some way. There's some Magic the Gathering jokes in there and all that kind of stuff. So the story is going to be the big divider on whether you like this or not, but I'll talk a little bit more about that because it's more explaining the gameplay.
Yeah. Okay, then, well, let's get onto that, mate. Nice little segue there. So what was the gameplay itself like?
Yeah, the gameplay is... Because the story is about you building up this hacker team that's trying to protect your data.
Does this hacker team have a name?
Yeah, DedSec.
DedSec, mate.
Edgelord.
That's edgy.
Edgelord as fuck. DedSec. So you're trying to gain reputation, or in fact, straight up followers, and followers are a currency in the game.
So it's like a rep / notoriety.
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
Of
and because they're still playing on the theme from the original one, which is that your data's at risk, and obviously a big global theme ongoing.
Yeah.
So they're still, and you're like protecting the little guy, right?
Okay.
To make sure your data's not being sold. So the gameplay is you gain followers, and you gain followers obviously through missions.
Yep.
But also, as it say, there's a lot of open world tropes here that you'd expect there to be.
So you've got side missions.
You've got side missions. Yeah. You've got the collecting selfies of landmarks in San Francisco. All that kind of stuff is going to gain you followers, and then them followers, that follower count actually levels you up. So they do have the talent system that you can go into. Now, the talent system is pretty good. There's a lot of focus on tech. Obviously, hacking is the niche this game's trying to go for, right? Is the hacking stuff. So you can use RC cars and drones. And what that actually does, though, for good gameplay reasons, is it opens opportunities for different ways of doing missions. So you can go full balls to the wall, machine gun, shotgun, right? Or yo-yo. Like I said,
yo-yo.
The melee combat is with a yo-yo. I want to say that. But when I say melee combat, it's pressing circle once. That'll initiate the melee takedown. Even if they aggroed you or anything like that. It's not sleeping dogs. Unfortunately, there's no sleeping dogs here. It's you go near and you will attack them and take them down with a yo-yo. That'll be either taking them down or smashing them in the face with a yo-yo, and then winding a yo-yo. Your guy's a parkour master. Occasionally, he'll do these weird backflips.
I'm getting the feel for it. It's a more light-hearted kind of gameplay.
Yes, that's what they're going for. It's more light-hearted and very, very silly.
Yeah.
So that's what if you like that, you get to then pick which style of play you like. So you can approach a mission, and to give you some ideas, you can approach a mission, you can go in there, balls to the wall, kill people. You're still going to get cops after you. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second. Or you can go in stealthily. You can do it stealth. You can do cover. You can crawl around corners, and you can distract people by hacking terminals and then electrocuting them in them terminals and knocking them down in a non-lethal way. Or you can go lethal way and blow things up. For some reason, you can hack like fuel drums and stuff.
Why?
I don't know. I don't really know why. It's still funny though. It's still funny that you can do that.
Just touching on the stealth, because you're not a big fan of stealth. How did you find it in this?
Barely capable of me doing it. Because I'm bad.
Were you still able to progress with a mission if you broke stealth?
Yeah, because you can just shoot the shit out of everybody if you want
cool.
to. Yeah, you can
I guess that segues into the weapons thing like you were saying before.
Yeah, you can get Uzis, you can get shotguns, you can do the full thing. You can go balls to the walls. I'm not a fan of stealth. I'll try stealth, but usually I'm too impatient.
Yeah.
And that's it. I just want to get on with the mission, and eventually I'll lose it at some point and then just take everybody down.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can end badly, obviously with some rips, but usually that's how I go with.
Cool.
But whichever playstyle you really like, you can then advance into that with your talent system, because you have to choose where to go. Because followers are the resources in order to generate talent points. If you want to get everything, that means you're going to have to do everything in the game. You're going to have to get all the selfies. You're going to have to do all that stuff in the side missions and whatever. For your main playthrough, if you're not intending to like 100% an open world Ubisoft game, which is going to take you, 40, 50 hours probably.
Long time, yeah,
you're going to be picking the style of play you really like. So that can be hacking vehicles, which is super fucking fun. So you can hack people as they're driving by. You can hack their car and remote control their car, and that is super fucking funny. You can do all that kind of stuff. Or you might not even want to go into the building yourself. There is many main story missions that are totally completable with the little RC car.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And he can go through vents, and he can jump upstairs, and he's called the Jumper, and he can jump upstairs, and he can do all that kind of stuff. So in some missions, you literally don't even have to enter the building yourself.
So am I right in thinking that you can then, with your talent system and this RC car, you can level up more in terms of your RC control? Is that right?
RC control, what you'll do is pick up new abilities for the style of play you like.
Right,
so if you like remote hacking stuff, you can turn that up to the point where you can do a system-wide shutdown of a whole city block.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, you can do things like that. Or you can remote control lifter trucks and cherry pickers to reach the top of buildings. Yeah. Or you could go into like bigger guns, better stuff, better shooting, all that kind of stuff. So you can go that way or the other.
That's nice.
Yeah, you get the choice of how you want to play the game. Yeah, they give you that choice quite nicely. One thing that's really cool in the gameplay, because the soundtrack in these games is always a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Ever since GTA started that, the soundtrack in the big open world games, when you're driving cars, I've got to say the driving is solid here. A big request we had when we streamed it is the driving better than the first one. I didn't play the first one because it was so wretchedly horrible with bugs.
Yep.
But what I can say is the driving was solid. It was absolutely fine. There was no issues with it there. But the soundtrack's obviously a very big deal. They've done a really interesting thing in this one, is that you don't get all the songs at first. So there's no radio. You just have your MP3 player.
Right.
So what you do is you actually Shazam songs out in the open world. Yeah, you get a phone app When you hear somebody listening to music, and this is how it works, somebody will walk by you listening to a song and you think you like that song, you Shazam that song and then you download it to your MP3.
That's such a quality little
because
gimmick.
I got a lot of them, but nowhere near all of them.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about famous artists. I Shazam Dizzy Rascal, I Shazam Judas Priest,
Yeah.
I Shazam Mozart. And it could be a case of either somebody walks by you listening to it, you'll go into a restaurant and that song's playing, or you'll steal a car and that's what that guy had on his radio.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a really nice thing because you see it. It's a sad thing that they don't actually make you go into the app. You just have a button to press on the controller, and that's instantly opens it up. It'll give you a notification saying there's a song nearby because you might not have heard it. You press the button, you grab the song, which is fine. I actually thought that was one of the cooler ways of adding to your music collection.
Definitely. I'm down for that. It's a really cool little gimmick.
Yeah,
Original as well.
So your gameplay is nothing surprising here. Massive map, loads of side quests, loads of mini games, and a main story.
Fun, it sounds like, as well.
It was very fun. It was very fun, and it goes side to side. So what I'll do is like the pros. So using the tech is really good.
Yeah.
All right. Using the tech is really good, and the fact that you could do missions in loads of different ways just kept it being fresh.
Okay.
All right. Every time. So if you are a 100% stealth player, maybe you're not going to see the benefit of that.
Right.
But for someone like me, and I generally approach the missions in these games like I'll try and do stealth. Stealth will go wrong, and then I'll have to break out into all sorts of different ways.
Yeah, of course.
But each of the main story missions I pretty much did all of them in a very different way. Sometimes I 100% did it with an RC car. Sometimes I did it all with stealth. Sometimes I just got into an open war with everybody.
Yeah. That's
So
cool.
that made the
I like
missions
that.
pretty fresh. Now that's the overall pro. Let me get into the negatives. And there's two really, really strong negatives with this game.
Okay.
GTA 5 fucking exists. This is not GTA 5. GTA 5 has so much that you can do that's also got quite a lot of depth to it. Even if it's riding around a submarine, flying planes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This doesn't have that. Your side missions are about 2 minutes in length and not extensive. You'll literally go to the objective, it'll do a little cutscene, you'll do maybe one very simple action, and that's the end of the side mission. That's it.
Right, okay.
You generally don't even move around. So it's not like a simple one we probably did in GTA 5 is get the tow truck and you meet the girl, and she's like a drug addict and she's talking to you. You go pick up several vehicles and you bring them back to a yard. It's one of the earlier side missions in GTA 5. Nothing that big.
Yeah.
Nothing at all that big. The side mission might just be, can you hack a cherry picker to stand on top of a building and meet someone there? That's
So
the
they are
side.
very, very, very short. side
Super
missions.
short.
That's a shame.
Also, GTA 5 exists, as I said, and this I was expecting with a AAA Ubisoft game that they would have that spectacle that you get with the big story missions and the main story missions. An example, again, a very, very early mission in GTA 5. Within about 30, 40 minutes of playing GTA 5, you're doing the story, you're likely to be pulling a building off the side of a cliff because someone slept with your wife with a truck. Yeah. Nothing like that happens in this game. There's even the main story missions don't have that big spectacle.
There's no
payoff.
feeling of grandeur in the story
No,
missions.
none at all
is right.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
In fact, the main story missions, for the most part, I go to a place, there are security guards, you have to find a piece of data. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Man,
So
that
yeah,
sucks.
about 9 hours in, really repetitive on the main story because it never took us far away or said, let's have fun with this and let's go crazy with it.
Right.
I was expecting a lot of spectacle, but no, they came down to pretty much the same sort of thing. Go to a building, it might be a museum, it might be whatever. There'll be some security guards, try and get through it, collect the piece of data which is located like in the hardest place to get to in the building.
Yeah.
Get that data and run away from the area.
That's such a
it.
shame. When I saw the clips, and obviously I saw quite a bit of you playing it, I was hoping that there was going to introduce more of the free running, the parkour feel in some of these missions, like being chased over building tops.
Yeah, none of that.
You know, like along the ridge of a crane or something
in the first
like that.
9 or so hours, which is a long time to be into the game to not see something pretty spectacular happen. I'll give you some context, the most spectacular ending to a main story mission I got, because each main story mission usually has 5 components.
Right.
Leading up to the 5th component, which in sort of like GTA terms, that might be a heist or it might be something like that, where you get all that pre-planning stuff.
Yeah.
In this one, it'll usually end with you releasing a viral video to YouTube or whatever, which is exposing whichever company you were after at the time for stealing your data. The most exciting thing that happened was a car chase. That was the most exciting thing that happened at the end of a main mission. Yeah, I'm not joking there. That was the most exciting
That's
thing.
such a shame. I know, like I've just said it, but like even in the trailer and things like that, you're expecting to do some sort of grandiose building running at least.
Yeah,
you know,
didn't get
something
any.
even
I'm not
inside
saying
a
it doesn't
building.
occur later in the game, but
But in 9 hours,
in
you'd
9
expect to
hours
get
it
a
didn't happen.
taste.
And that 9
Yeah.
hours, at least 7 of it was doing the main story.
Yeah, of
and then a
course.
couple of hours looking at everything else. So yeah, nothing like that particularly
shame.
happened. It was go to place. This place is now as security people there. So things like Scientology get thrown under the bus is an obvious one we mentioned earlier. So
Yeah.
you'll go to the Scientology Rehabilitation Center. That's got security guards. Fend off the security guards or disable the security guards. Find your objective. Go away from the area. Over and over and over and over again.
Okay, so let's end on the conclusion
No,
then.
no, I've got more
sorry,
negatives.
mate.
You fucking
I
back
do
up. There are 2
apologise.
big negatives to this game.
Shit,
2
hit
big
me with it,
negatives.
then.
So one is that it's nowhere near as in-depth or full of game as GTA 5. The second big negative is the story doesn't decide what it wants to do. In many ways, it tries to be serious, and it comes across as a cringy mess, right? Because it's horrible. So it feels like it's trying to be serious, and then they'll try and switch over to we're in on the joke, but without going like down the Saints Row path.
In an awkward way, though.
Yeah, it's like we're in on the joke, guys. Don't worry about it. And then 2 minutes later, it's like, well, you're not, are you, though? Because
No.
you're really taking this serious. So it'll go from the point where it's trying to be really serious to, and then you're fighting with a yo-yo, or, and I'm not joking, it has some really reality-breaking moments that don't even make fucking sense. I mean, real crazy stuff, like a woman, the member of your team, Satira, I believe she's called, she'll do a 30-foot leap from building to building as a joke.
What?
Yeah, and it's like, in Saints Row, that would be fine.
Yeah.
But you haven't given that as an impression.
No.
So what you get is
Wow.
a story that won't focus on what it wants to be. Is this a serious game like it wants to be taken seriously? Or is this a goofy satire send-up? And it tries to play both
Yeah.
without going too far one way or the other because it's got to keep coming back to trying to be goofy before it goes back to being serious, and then it's got to be goofy again. And therefore, you don't get that, oh, I see
You don't
what
get
this
that
game is doing.
direction.
They don't take either direction far enough to
Yeah.
really get what's going on there. So those
That's
are
a
2
shame.
big issues with it with me. So my conclusion on it is far better than the first. Far
Of
better than the
course.
first.
That was a low bar set.
That was a low bar set, but it is far better than the first. In terms of a straight up open world game, though, it's mediocre. That's all
Yeah.
I can really say. It's mediocre. It's never going to be on par with the similar games that are in this open world genre, so you can compare that to many. It's nowhere near as, like GTA 5 or something, you can spend hours not playing the main game. You can't do that here.
Yeah.
It's not silly enough to be like Saints Row style, right? It doesn't go that far to the point where it's really funny and it's just, it's going down its own path. It doesn't feel like it's carving its own niche. The niche is just the hacking stuff. That's not enough for me to really say. And it's, because it's the same setting, it's going to be compared to those games. You are driving around the city like you do in GTA, like you do in Saints Row, instead of like taking this formula to somewhere completely different like we saw in Mad Max, and that being enough to get really crazy with it. So then we can have crazy sandstorms and all that kind of stuff. So it's right in the middle and not doing enough of either of those games to say, I like Watchdogs. Because you've got guys who are like, I love Saints Row. I love GTA.
You wouldn't say, like, it's a Watchdog style play.
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted to do the hacking, they needed to go much further with it, like Sleeping Dogs did with its melee combat. Because that melee combat was just great from start to finish. Huge variety. Then they started throwing things into the world that you could throw people into and all that. I don't think the hacking is enough to carve a niche, and all the rest of the gameplay just isn't good enough, it isn't deep enough, it isn't interesting enough to make me think this is a cool open world where I want to spend 40 hours.
Yeah.
I would rather play, if I wanted to play an open world game, I would rather play Saints Row, I'd rather play GTA, I'd rather play Mad Max, I'd rather play Assassin's Creed. I'd rather, Black Flag specifically. I would rather play any of those games, right? So the people who like this, if you love your open world games, and they do, people absolutely love games where there is a shitload of stuff to do. You're probably tired of GTA by now. It's been out for a long fucking time at this point. If you're looking for a big open world game where you can just sort of goof around and mess around and do stuff with, then this is going to be great for you. And certainly if you're a fan of the first and you love the hacking aspect, this is going to be great for you, right? If you're looking for a big open world game, sandbox to play around in, this is going to scratch that itch. For everyone else, if you're not particularly looking for this open world, I'd say it's okay. I mean, is it worth the asking price? Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't think so. I don't think you're getting enough, honestly, of interesting stuff. There's loads of game there, but it's all stuff that's just like, I mean, the phrase is busy work, which is stuff you can do, but taking selfies ain't that interesting, right? Traveling around the world taking selfies ain't that interesting. You can't target songs, so it's not like you can farm those. Yeah. Because they'll just run them on queue at all times. And the racing and side quests is pretty much like motocross racing, car racing, What you're not going to get is things like playing, skiing, golf, yoga, you know, all those stupid things that go along there. So it sits right in the middle of, it was decently fun, I'm not going to finish it.
That's such a shame. From what you've just told me and the elements of your gameplay is, there's so many little things that they are original in this,
Yep.
but only if they push those a bit further and not just like make you focus on it all the time, but really expand on the things that you can do with the hacking.
Is so fun.
With the RC car, hacking, free running, even little things like you said, the Spotify, the Shazam thing. There's all those little elements could be expanded to make this game a really, really nice experience that you can say, I want another Watchdogs 2 like game.
Yeah.
But it just sounds like it's not pushed far enough, and you'll probably enjoy.
No, I don't understand why they didn't go much further, because the RC car is really fun to use, but it's limited to only one thing, which is vents. Other than that, that's the only difference with using it, is that you're in a vent, and you can obviously because people can't see behind cover in normal gameplay, let alone in an RC car. That's it. That's the gameplay change, really, is you are still physically there. People can still see you, and they'll break your RC car. You won't die like you would do on if you were in there physically as the person, as Retro. But that's the only difference, is you can go through vents. They didn't think of anything really, really silly you could do with the RC car. It's just the RC car instead of you being in there.
Right.
You understand? There's like, they could have done so much more. I think they could have come up with like, what are we going to do with this RC car? Let's think of crazy things this RC car could do. But they didn't do that, unfortunately. It's all very like, we want to do this, but we don't want to go too far with it. It feels like they played it safe. I think that was the wrong decision. Although it is much better than the first, I'm glad they didn't take it so seriously. But it does feel like they played it safe, and because of that, they haven't set their mark in this world. Whereas if I was to say any other game, you would know its mark. Even though they all start the same, if I compare Saints Row to GTA, they're not the same game.
No, absolutely.
They're miles a different game. And but this one just didn't make that mark,
That's a shame.
So there's your Watch Dogs 2! Mediocre! Mediocre. Yeah, 9 hours, just over 9 hours played. I don't think I'm going to play anymore.
That's a shame. It had so many fun elements in, but it just didn't seem to take off, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I was desperate to play an open world game, I'd be more than fine with it. But I've played better, and that's about it, really.
Yeah, not enough niche in it.
Yeah, it was a little bit plain. I would like to just see them go more crazy with the hacker stuff, but they didn't. Or go more in depth on the story, which didn't get there, but at least in the first 10 hours. So it could be that it picks up really well in like the latter half, but that's going to be like 40 hours deep, and it's not worth it for me. Based on what they've shown me so far.
You want to see something in 9 hours at least, don't you?
Yeah, I would think so.
Shame.
So if you enjoyed that, please click our previous video, which was Battlefield 1, because we were late to the game on Battlefield 1.
We were, mate, we were.
Or you can check the Twitch VOD to watch us play through Watch Dogs 2. We did it over 2 days, so we put a lot more time into this one. Alright guys, thank you so much. Following this are some highlights from my playthrough. Prepare your face palms. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I learned my skills from Zero Cool.
Nobody's gotten that far. This is like the secret cow level.
We have dead sec sighted. Require additional hands.
Oh, sorry, bro. Not sorry. Right, I've closed the doors. You can't see me. You don't know where I am. This would be amazing if this works.
Hey, your niece has quite the audience count.
A mix of pervs and airheaded teens, I'm sure. They could all use a lesson in internet safety.
I would be more
Don't
upset
worry,
if I
we'll
hadn't
give your
seen
niece a
streams
little
with this
scare.
going on. Although that shirt's way too
Hey
much.
guys, it's Cindy, aka DanceFoo01.
Fast.
It's the fucking
Slowpoke.
Roses.
At least I didn't climb up the wrong building.
Oh.
Fucking shit.
No. Sorry, Trinity.
Thanks for the hand.
No. No, that was like 25 feet away. No. No,
Got in
immersion.
with a group.
No. No. No, no, no. The Grandma Knit After Midnight? I mean, what? Oh. Oof. Right. Did you have...